Today I'd like to talk about 4 ways to make your dental office feel bigger without adding space. Have you ever seen that famous video where you're asked to count basketball passes and you completely miss the person in a gorilla suit walking right through the scene? If you haven't, try it with your team. It's called the selective attention test. It's a great reminder that what we see and what we think we see are often two very different things. Our brains constantly shorthand data. Some people say as much as 80%, filling in gaps and missing obvious details. Here's the kicker. That same principle can make or break how patients and staff experience your dental office. Today, I'll show you a few design strategies that make rooms feel larger, hallways feel shorter, and treatment spaces feel safer, all without adding a single square foot. And in your next office may even allow you to reduce hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost as you actually eliminate unnecessary volume while making the space feel larger at the same time. When we walk into a room, we don't measure it with a laser level. We perceive its size by how much open floor space we can actually see. So the more cabinets, furniture, and clutter you put into that space, the smaller it feels. That's why a wide operatory with side cabinets will actually feel smaller than a narrow room with cleaner lines. So that's step 1. Next, here's something that most people don't realize. The brightness of the far wall tells your brain how deep a room feels. If the wall's really bright, your brain pulls it forward. It feels closer. If the wall's darker, your brain pushes it back. It feels further away. Now think about this from the patient's perspective. They're lying flat, vulnerable, looking straight ahead. If the room feels endless, that can actually trigger anxiety. A little bit of enclosure feels safe and contained. Even though in reality, we often make rooms a little longer for doctors who want to do consults, for example, in the treatment room. But we don't necessarily want the room to feel longer. If you've got an interior operatory with no windows, that's where brightness really becomes your friend. Light up the far wall with well-placed lighting and calming artwork, or even a large monitor. Suddenly the room feels bigger, more inviting, and a whole lot less clinical. On the other hand, have you ever walked into a space that just felt cramped? Or down a hallway that felt like it went on forever? That's not just architecture, it's perception. And here's the good news. You can change how people see any space without moving a single wall. If a room feels too short, you can make it feel progressively longer by scaling down artwork, displays, and furniture as you move away. It's a visual trick that tells the brain, this room goes deeper than it really does. Now in dentistry, a more common challenge is actually the opposite, long, narrow hallways that feel cold and clinical. We work hard to minimize them when we're designing new practices, but large offices, that's sometimes unavoidable. Here are 2 simple fixes. First, instead of entering the hallway from the very end, reroute the crossover hallways toward the center of the long hallway. Suddenly, that same hallway feels much shorter and less intimidating. Even if you're in a strip mall and can't change the layout, you still have other options. Use brightness and focal displays, maybe artwork or a monitor at the end of the wall to visually pull your attention. Done right, you can reduce the perceived length of travel by about 25%. That 25% is usually enough to turn the space from cold and clinical into something patients actually feel comfortable walking through. Last, and perhaps the most misunderstood part of dental design, the sequence of how a patient reads a room visually. When someone enters a room, their eyes follow this cross-shaped pattern, sweeping only about 30 degrees to the left before locking in on a focal point. That's why magicians can make you miss something obvious, or why you didn't notice that gorilla in the video. For dentistry, that means push the scary stuff outside that initial field of view. Mount the dental light on a track so it's up and out of sight, giving the patient something attractive to focus on, like artwork or a digital display or a beautiful view. To do that, you flip the emotional script. Instead of triggering fight or flight, you set the stage for case acceptance, relaxed patience during treatment, and better in-room consultation, all from understanding how the human eye scans a space. Great design isn't just fitting in more chairs. It's about how the patient feels in your space. Spaciousness, safety, and perception all shape trust and comfort. So before you commit to layout details, remember, psychology matters as much as the square footage. At Design Ergonomics, we specialize in creating dental offices that feel bigger, work smarter, and make patients more comfortable without adding unnecessary cost. If you're planning a new office or rethinking your current one, don't guess. Contact us today and let's work together to design a space that's more productive, more comfortable, and more patient-friendly from day one. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next set of design strategies. And thank you.